All right, so welcome everyone. Thanks so much for attending this session. My name is Lisa Bednar, and I'm co-hosting this session with Jesse Singer. So we have some information we want to share with you, and then we want to focus this session really on some breakout rooms where you get a chance to meet each other. So we're just going to go ahead and start to talk a little bit about some of the things we want to share with you, thinking about your fall term as student parents. So we'll go to our introduction slide, and then I'm going to hand it off to Jesse since his information comes up first on the slide.
Yes, thanks, Lisa. Hi, everybody. So welcome today. If you're in this workshop, you're probably a student and a parent. And Lisa and I have worn those hats as well and wear them currently in different ways. And just a reminder, like Lisa said, there's going to be a good chunk of time to have a breakout session today in small groups. If you didn't expect that, I'm sorry for the surprise. It did say that there'd be some discussion, but that part won't be recorded. I just wanted to make that clear. So that's totally private. Anything that's shared in that discussion session. And we're really looking forward to kind of empowering you guys to talk to each other a little bit today. And hopefully you find our questions a little bit thought-provoking and helpful. So I'm Jesse Singer. I'm a student support case manager, caseworker in U of M, and I also am a part-time student myself and a parent. I've worked as a social worker supporting youth and students for a number of years here in Winnipeg. And I myself have had to adjust to this COVID time like everybody else here and figure out how to parent, how to do my job, and how to be a student at the same time. So I hope I can be helpful today a little bit in what we're sharing. And I'm just grateful to be here and grateful for my supports in my life, which allow me to actually handle these things. And I acknowledge that not everybody has the same amount of supports in their life. So I'm just grateful to be here today and look forward to this conversation.
Okay, thanks, Jesse. And I think, Jesse, if you click the slide, there's one more point on your slide. I apologize. Some of these slides we updated really up to the last minute. So my name is Lisa Bednar. I'm a sessional instructor at the U of M. I often work at home. So when COVID hit, I was better prepared, more experience on managing university work and also having family members in the home. And so I thought of this session as, thinking about the busy home and then doing university work. For myself, of course, an instructor, I'm preparing class stuff. And for you guys as students, you're studying and working on university work in that way. The key takeaway I want to share in terms of some strategies, I've just put up on the slide here right away to jump in. Because what I found with working with students who are in busy homes with little ones running around is that we don't have the luxury of an hour or two to sit with our book and read, which is something that students would often have if they are on campus and there's no one interrupting them. But when you're in a busy home, as this cartoon likes to show, you're doing multiple things at once and you've got the laptop going and you're going to have your remote learning sessions, lectures going, and there's going to be family members and other activities going on in the home, which makes it really hard. So Jesse, I'll just get you to go back to the last slide, the previous slide there, because I want to see the points. So what I have found with students is that I advocate for students to take a really strategic view of university life when they're parents, and parents are very good at strategizing. So obviously you use your parenting skills as a student, and to look at the 10 to 20 minute sessions that you will have during your week this fall, to use those as very focused study sessions. So at the end of the slideshow, before we do the breakout rooms, I'll go into that a little bit more detail. The other reason I wanted to do this workshop for you and with you is to have you meet each other, because of course now with the campus being closed, you're not going to be able to meet in person. And I also wanted to connect with students early on in the term to talk about self-advocacy. And so for all students, self-advocacy is really important, but especially for student parents. And I teach online every term, and I engage with students every term by email. And I really appreciate when students advocate for themselves, because when a stressor comes up, it's really important to engage with your instructor or your prof to talk about what the stressor is. So I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail. My fourth point on the slide is just reiterating that we really wanted you to share some of your experiences and to get together in the breakout rooms, which will start around 4:20. And student parents share a lot of common experiences. So in the breakout rooms, we aren't asking you to share too much, and you certainly don't need to share anything you don't want to share. But if you talk a little bit about kind of the ages of your children and some of the challenges that you're facing, I think you'll see a lot of common experiences. And yeah, that's it for that slide. Thanks, Jesse. The next slide is our nice little cartoon that we found, which I think captures many of our experiences being at home during this pandemic time, having kids who are also learning from home if they're in school, and then having all of the other household activities going on all around us. So that's a good slide.
Absolutely.
And then, Jesse, anything you wanted to add there? Oh, your audio went.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, this looks like a lot of our homes, I figure,
Yeah.
like people listening, right? So I'm going to just go to the next slide.
Okay, so before we put you into rooms to meet one another, we wanted to capture as many of the different kinds of challenges that student parents would be facing, especially specific to this fall in Manitoba, given that we're all kind of facing these decisions that our schools and daycares and our community in general has to make around school days and daycare access and transportation and all these things. So we made this list. We hope that in your breakout sessions, you can identify with some of these. And we also hope that you can alert us and each other to other stressors that we didn't capture on this list. So I guess I'll go through them really to emphasize, that you're definitely not alone in going through these specific challenges this fall. And as we all know by now, this fall 2020 term is unlike any other that we've ever had. And so we've got the stress of our kids going back to school or daycare. And some of you may have already had your kids in daycare for a few months. Some of you may be planning to put your kids back into daycare soon. And we hope that you can share a little bit about what that experience is, how it's going for you. The stress of kids not going back to school or daycare. Some of you may have chosen to homeschool, and within the limited choices we all have, understanding that then your home is going to be really busy with everyone having lots of plans and schedules and activities. And then the uncertainty and the anxiety about COVID-19 is in the back of our minds, kind of running as a software program that we're trying to keep from getting to the front part of our minds every day, thinking about our loved ones and how the virus is spreading in our specific community, and that's on the back of our minds as a stressor. Getting to know your profs and classmates without a classroom. Like right now, as I'm presenting to you, typically in this environment, I would see your faces, I'd be able to engage with you and see your nods, and collectively we would be able to share in the learning experience. And on Zoom, that's not going to necessarily feel the same. The anxiety around getting good grades, having your work or school schedules change unexpectedly, managing the tech issues. We all have the best laid plans for using our Wi-Fi and using Learn, but we know that those tech issues are going to be very stressful when they come up, especially if it's on a very important day for your course. And then the fact that the housework still continues. We have the household chores, probably more chores than usual because people are home and there's lots of cleanup for all our family members. And decision fatigue, which parents and student parents are going to have, because some days there's going to be a lot that you're going to be managing. And that relates very much to what I'm experiencing right now with decisions around first week of school, first week of university. Missing our family and friends and not knowing if our profs will understand us. So Jesse is going to, I believe, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the strategies around self-care and some of the ways we can help ourselves as best as possible, given that we've got this big list of challenges that we're all facing in some way this fall.
Thanks,
All
Lisa.
right.
Yeah, it is fitting that self-care was at the very bottom of our list, because that's kind of how it might feel today for a lot of us these days. And we're going to talk about how, self-care is important too, but that's understandable. So, you would fill in the rest of the blanks, right? We might not have captured your challenges here. It might be about your kids going to school and specific things like masks. It might be even more stressors than we listed here, right? So what do we do with all the stress that we're facing? And I love this picture with a quote by Viktor Frankl, who was a very famous psychologist um, who survived a lot himself. And he said, the last of human freedoms is the ability to choose one's attitude in a given set of circumstances. And so his therapy was all about, that we can change our mind, even though we can't change what's going on around us, we can change our attitude. And this is one thing I want to talk to you about is a psychological technique called flexible thinking. So sometimes adopting a new mantra or a new attitude, what we say is very powerful. So I find, I don't know about you guys, but I find when I'm talking to people about school starting up for myself and for my son, I'll often say things like, it's crazy, I just don't know what's going to happen, And those kind of things that we say over and over again really affect us. And ultimately, what happens is we feel more anxious, right? We feel more worried, and we don't have a solution for it. And that really makes us worried, and that makes us scared. And what we say is a powerful thing. So flexible thinking is about what Viktor Frankl said, which is changing your mind when you can't change a situation. So instead of saying, I'm so worried, or this is crazy, what if we tried saying, we're going to have to live with this. We're doing all we can in a tough time. Or what about if we shift our perspective and say what you're grateful for? And I think that we can all save a lot of money and time from paying a therapist to kind of work on this stuff with ourselves if we can kind of practice it on our own. And practice does make perfect with regards to flexible thinking. So flexible thinking is kind of like, hey, plan A, plan B, those are done. We can't necessarily go to class like we wanted. Maybe our son or daughter isn't in the school program we thought they'd be in, or maybe they aren't going to be at school. Maybe they'll be homeschooled. So what's plan C look like, right? And just accepting that life is not exactly what we planned it to be this year, and that we have to be flexible with ourselves and be kind to ourselves, but also be flexible. So there's a quote here by Bruce Lee that you'll see about, the stiffest tree is the most easily cracked, while the bamboo or the willow survive by bending with the wind. So flexible thinking allows us to kind of cope and flourish in a stressful time by using two things, kind of creativity in how we look at things and how we talk about things going on around us, and also shifting our expectations. So this is what we're going to get into a little bit with regards to your parenting and your being a student. How can we take our plan A and plan B, and okay, plan C might be a little different. Our expectations might need to be a little lower. And so here's some examples of some flexible thinking, strategies that we can do. I guess I'll do one at a time. So what about, if you usually went to the gym 3 days a week, and now, you're at home helping, do more things around the home because of what's going on, and your kid's at home with you when you're studying. You aren't at school where you had the school gym to go to for your yoga classes like I used to go. What can I do now? What if I put on a yoga video at the same time as my son watches a cartoon, right? Is that terrible, right? Is that so bad? What if I exercise or study at the same time that my children do their homework, right? So maybe your kid has some homework to do, and you can set the example by doing it at the same time as them. and maybe even having a reward after you're done, right? So go for ice cream, you guys accomplished something, right? So, adjusting our expectations of how we do things, modifying our schedules to accommodate others. So, maybe we can't do what we used to, and now we have to change that. So what about instead of watching Netflix, what if we make sure we get a little bit more sleep? So that's a bit of self-care, being a bit more flexible because we need more sleep during more stressful times, right? So we might not have as much time in our day because of all the extra duties we have to worry about now. Being a parent, being a student during COVID. And what about enlisting all the family members to clean up around the house, right? So maybe um, up until now, your kid kind of got to relax after school. Maybe they can step up a little bit and help you out by doing some cleaning, right? And make it fun. So maybe kind of change expectations. And building a fort in the living room so that an overwhelmed kid has a special place just for them. So getting creative. So flexible thinking is about creativity. So when what we're trying to do is blocked and we keep hitting a wall, we have to think about other ways to kind of get around, right? So these ideas are actually from a really cool website that I'm going to share at the bottom. I didn't come up with these ideas. Okay, I'm just going to bring them all up here. So if we take a diversion
Yeah,
from...
so that's, I was just going to say to show everything else on the slide because...
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so like, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so taking a diversion, okay, so like
Yes,
what...
so...
Go ahead on that. Yeah. Okay. So if we take a diversion from a planned schedule to recharge is another idea. Creating shorter to-do lists. So again, just shrink our expectations. If you did one thing today, right? So if you wanted to study for 3 courses, but you only studied for one, that is, and Lisa being a professor, I'd like to hear a little bit more about her perspective. This is like, you do what you can do during these tough times, right, guys? So that's what flexible thinking is all about. Okay. And lastly, if you're meeting your kids' basic needs, are they fed? Are they taken care of? Are they loved? A lot of psychologists and social workers are posting a lot these days about, hey, let's not worry so much about all the learning that your kids are getting done. Let's worry that they're okay in their mind, right? And in their body. So if they're feeling regulated and settled, happy and loved and taken care of, maybe that's all that we can do during COVID. And then if they get some learning done and they read a few books this year and they learn a few awesome things in school, that's great, right? So that's kind of shifting our focus and our expectations. So I'm going to pass it back to Lisa just to talk a little bit about some more strategies and supports during these difficult times.
Yeah, we're just working on hoping to clean up the audio. Hopefully the audio is okay on your end for you guys who are listening in. And unfortunately on my end, some of the audio is cracking up. But this slide basically captures, again, some of these key points that I want to share as a long-time instructor working with lots of students who are student parents, and just understanding that in a normal term as a student parent, we all know that when we're studying at home, there is a higher risk of interruptions during the study time. And we also know that our university work requires a lot of focus. So I do a lot of encouraging students to not get discouraged and to just make a plan for studying and to think about making a plan for 10 minutes of focused reading. Now, of course, you're going to need more than that to succeed in your courses, but a 10-minute focused reading session is more valuable than trying to sit at the TV and there's kids chatting with you and you're doing a few things while you're trying to study. And this is backed up by research. The last point on this slide, if you just want to click through, Jesse, or click it one more time, it gives you the link to a really nice video. It's called Stop Multitasking Now! ! And it talks about how important it is to just ask our family members for 10 minutes of devoted time where we can just do a very small task. And I often encourage students, just look at 2 pages on your textbook or just do a preview of that one chapter and lower your expectations around what you're going to hope to get accomplished during any one study session. And then connected to that, advocate for yourself with your professors and student supports. Especially this term, it's really important that you feel supported by the people at the U of M and the community at large. We want you to reach out to us. As a sessional instructor, I always welcome students to email me. So those of you participating today, you can outline what you're looking for and email Jesse or I, and we'll do our best to figure out what your options are to address your concern. Even if it's not a course I'm teaching, I can direct you in the right place to get that concern addressed. And we've come up now on the time we want to push you guys into breakout rooms. So we're hoping to put you into rooms of about 6 or 7 folks. You can introduce yourselves, and we have a plan for what we want you to share with one another so that you can do a bit of sharing. And so we'll go to and also on the screen are the supports, very important. And if you wanted to take a photo of that screen, that's great. Jesse's email is up there, Jesse Singer, jesse.singer@umanitoba.ca. And if you Google UManitoba Student Supports, you get the perfect web page for all of the student support links to the U of M supports for students.
Okay. Are we doing the breakout session or are you going over it first?
We're going to go over real quick what we're going to do. So for the breakout session, we're going to put you into groups of, okay, how many people? 25 participants. So we're probably going to make, I think that 5 groups of 5 should be just great. In our groups, we're going to have 20 minutes to take turns. We're going to go alphabetically, just ask you to kind of go around, introduce yourselves. And after that, you can talk about as a guide, how many, if you have children, how many children do you have? What ages are they? Maybe, just something real quick like that. Maybe what you're studying. After that, if you guys can take turns and talk about these 3 questions. So you can take a screenshot with your phone or you can write these down as a reminder. So the first question we want you to ask has to do with changing our mindset. So again, the psychology. Research shows that being grateful can really make us happy. So practicing gratitude is a really important thing in these difficult times. So we're going to ask you to share one thing you're grateful for. Okay, it can be big or small. It can be the sun shining today, or it can be something about your kids. It can be anything you want. Question number 2. What is a big challenge or worry that you have right now heading into fall? So is this a worry that's about you in terms of your studies? Is it a worry about your kids and their studies or their lives? Just get it out and share it with the group if you feel comfortable. Number 3 is there any opportunity to use flexible thinking, okay, and positive thinking to address your concerns or anxieties around your worries? And the other thing is, not just like a way of thinking, but is there some action too that we talked about, right? Like, can you maybe get creative and use your flexible thinking to actually do something in your life that makes the best of this tough situation? So I'm just going to give you an example, right? I know that in preparing for this, Lisa and I both had examples. Lisa, if you don't mind me sharing your little story, I know your screen and your mic are breaking up a bit, so I'll just do a little more talking. Lisa had mentioned that her son is going to be driving with her to school because the school bus is not happening. So her flexible thinking that she used told her to think about, what are the benefits here that I could get from the situation? And although she realized she's going to be losing time out of her day, she then decided to look at it like, I'm actually gaining a chance to talk to my son. Even if they're kind of one-word conversations, as she joked about with a teenage son, right? For myself, one of my bigger challenge and my worries is my son's switching classrooms because they had to reorganize everything based on COVID. And what's that going to be like for him? So I'm really trying to maybe think about how I can connect with the new parents I'm going to meet and kind of coach my son around what it's going to be like to be in a new classroom and to be maybe wearing a mask at school. So those are just two examples. And I'd like you to just in the comfort and the safety of your group, to just everybody to share confidentially with each other and look at those three questions, and we're going to come back as a big group. Thank you, Zach, for the technical assistance. And I'm just going to bring back up the PowerPoint. So we have to go, sorry about the screen share here. I don't know, Lisa, did you join a group? I got to join a group. Okay. In the group I was in, group number 2, people really wanted to connect. So what we wanted to do is just, we don't have a ton of time to like share that many examples maybe from everybody's group. But I promised that I'd mention again that my email, which is here, okay, you can take a screenshot. You guys can email me if you want to connect with the people that were in your group. And if you're interested in other type of workshops like this, or group support groups or sessions where you can connect with other student parents, we'd love to hear from you. So you can always email me about that. And especially that we don't have 200 people like we thought we were going to have today, I can handle all the emails you guys can send me. That's totally fine. Where's the slideshow? So like, Lisa, what are your thoughts on like, and people are busy student parents, but we could share a couple examples of what people said or what they're going through, or we could kind of leave that for the next time that we all connect.
Yeah, I think that like Jesse and I didn't exactly know, how the session would go, and I'm feeling really encouraged that so many of you want to connect with one another, because I think those connections really help to strengthen your connection to your experience being a student. And I talk a lot about this topic in my courses and stuff. We want the degree, and a lot of us think about the degree because we need it for our professional career goals. But the experience itself of going to university is its own life experience, and then connecting with others who are in the same boat as you as a student parent, that's really valuable. So the group I was in, group 3, everyone had the perfect attitude for start of term, which was to recognize all the challenges they're facing, and also to think about the strategies they're going to use and the flexible thinking that they're going to deploy when the stressors come up. And it was great. So thank you to everybody who shared in my group and the other groups.
Yes, and I want to say, like, all your stories, I'd love for you all to be able to share them with each other. But this was just a first taste of what we maybe can do. Lisa and I would love to connect you guys to each other again. And so before we leave just now, I'll put up the screen again with my number. And in our group, just to share, some people mentioned about financial problems, right? Just the stresses of having to pay for school, and maybe they have some funding, but then they have to pay for living costs and childcare, supplies, everything else. There's stuff like out there in the community, and there's stuff on campus as far as emergency supports. Financially, there's not like a ton of money just waiting there in a big pot, but you can reach out to me about something if anything comes up, and I can point you in the right direction as best as I can. There's academic supports, there's counseling. There is, even right now, you can speak to like a therapist for free on the phone. Okay, so the Student Counseling Center, you can call in for an appointment. You can call Empower Me, it's called. It's like free phone counseling for all students. We have a doctor's office on campus if you're in Winnipeg. I know we have some remote students that joined us today up in Cross Lake, maybe Thompson, other places like that.
All right, Cross Lake, Thompson, yeah. Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. Almost nobody was in Winnipeg in my group. It was pretty cool.
No one really wanted to play. I don't know, maybe just one person, I think. But and I just added to the chat there as Jesse was talking, because in terms of financial concerns, I can relate. I funded my university career, and I just finished paying off my student loan. And the U of M bookstore website has a classified ads section where students can sell their used textbooks. So back in the day, there was a place you could buy used textbooks on campus, and now it's moved online as classifieds, and that can really help to save some money because textbooks are a huge cost that we get hit with when we get on to into our classes, right? $200 a book and 5 courses, that's a lot of money.
Thanks for bringing that up. So there's a website link on the sorry, on the bookstore website, you said, Lisa? Okay. You were just
Yeah,
breaking
I
up.
think the link is sell your textbooks here. So click on that and you can see who's selling your textbook, the textbook you need. If
So
you have questions, if you guys
go
have
ahead.
any questions, yes, please email Jesse and I. You can see that we're friendly faces that will be able to find the answer to your question or find the person who probably has the answer to your question. And yeah, you belong to the U of M community, so you know we want to be able to resource you as well as we can. I've worked at the U of M for a long, long time, so first week of classes, I often look around for someone who looks lost because I can usually tell them how to get to the tunnel or get out of the tunnel. And now that we're online learning, we'll be able to do that same kind of navigating to help you guys with questions around whatever's going on for you as you settle into fall term.
Yes. Can you hear me again?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not muted. And just
Yep.
remember, there's great professors, instructors like Lisa out there, and support people like me out there that want to see you succeed. Okay. And there's so many other people that are great at the U of
Mm-hmm.
M. And don't get lost and not reach out. You guys can always reach out to somebody. And keep up the good parenting. Your kids are all so lucky to have you. And any final words? Good.
I mean, unfortunately, the audio is cutting in and out, so I
Yeah.
will not blabber on too much. But I do want to say thank you for everyone for attending. Do reach out to us, email us, and just say, you know, what you appreciate about the session or any questions you've got, like I said, about campus or anything that supports that you're interested in. Jesse knows about all the supports on campus, and I can direct you people that might have answers to any of the questions you have about different faculties. I've been on that campus for so long, I can kind of find the website you need pretty easily. So thank you so much.
Okay, people are thanking me in the chat. So in the chat, if you feel like you really want to, you can throw in your email there. But I think we have access to the emails though. Do we have access to people's emails in the end?
I think because you signed up for this session and there was a sign up through through your U of M email address. We have the email addresses of the participants today.
If you registered, if you took the time to register on Prep Week, the Prep Week
Okay, thanks.
date, we do have
Yeah.
your email. If you happen to have just gone through UM Learn on the Prep Week course and just click the link and you did not register ahead of time, if you can just head to the Prep Week registration form on the university's website, just go to umanitoba.ca and search Prep Week. Just fill that out and check the box, and I'll wait till tomorrow to pull a final list, and I'll share that complete list with Jesse and Lisa.
Okay, guys, I hope this isn't the end. We want to see you again and connect you with each other as parents. You guys are all in the same boat. So student parents, yeah, we're gonna get there. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming.